What did Jesus save us from? I saw a meme where Jesus told someone to let him inside. And when asked why the person should do that, Jesus said, "So I can save you." The person asked what he'd save them from. And Jesus responded, "From what I'm going to do if you don't let me inside." But other than that, no clue. According to Christian theology, all of humanity was condemned to hell because of Adam and Eve's sin. But with Jesus' death on the cross, he served as the sacrificial lamb and he resurrected, and now if we believe in him and be good people, we can go to heaven. Again, this is just what Christian theology teaches. It doesn't have to make sense to our secular 21st century minds. Not from hell. Hell isn't even in the Bible. Saved us from eternal death. See, the OT was super vague on if people went anywhere after death. Jewish faith to this day argues if there's even an afterlife, with branches arguing if there is, what it is. There's Jewish segments that believe there isn't one, or believe that there's reincarnation. And that's in line with what the Jews who followed Jesus would have been believing as well. Or that death is sleep until some future time. Like, there was no clear anything there. But annihilation of the soul and permanent death was a real fear thing. It's talked about as written out of the book of life, and sins that cause one to have a reprobate mind. Those people, even while living, are said to be dead spiritually. God will never look upon them, even in judgment. They just die. The Christian Jesus phenomena, then, is to prevent that forever death. Not going to hell. It's meant to prevent annihilation. Though, it's still used as a threat in the Bible. So, it's not gone. But Jesus also believed that the world would end before the people he was talking to were dead. So, couldn't have imagined anyone would need saving from it later. That's the reason for the current Christian mythology. Everyone did pass from this earth and nothing seemed to change. So they changed the reason, meaning later, to suggest that it was saving people from hell, which became easier to do with Dante's Inferno, giving them a new mythology of what their hell might be, if they had one. Again, they don't. It's not in the Bible. I guess I'll give the serious answer. Romans chapter 4 has the answer to this question. Basically, people who place their faith in Jesus are declared in good standing, righteous with God. Prior to that, people who placed their faith in God were declared righteous. Belief in Jesus saves us from the idea that we have to do some arbitrary, immeasurable amount of good deeds to be considered good people, which is how most of the world and most religions operate. However, the belief in Jesus should lead to good deeds because what you do reflects what you believe. Belief in Jesus saves us from the eternal consequences of the wrong choices, sin, we've made in the past and will continue to make. Someone on our Christianity will probably have a good answer. The flowery version. In Catholicism, humanity separated itself from God by disobeying him at the beginning. They couldn't get into heaven no matter what. Christ, who is God, became man, and then sacrificed himself to God the Father, in order to pay humanity's debt. We couldn't, but Christ could. We can still choose hell, but now we are able to get into heaven. If that makes sense. The realer version. Human nature is one of suffering, and malice, and evil. We do the things we wish we didn't do, and are sinful creatures. This is our natural state. Christ became man, so that he might show us how to overcome this sinful nature we have. A famous phrase I've heard is, Christ became man, so that men might become gods. We can achieve a state of perfection, because he told us the counterintuitive things which gets us there. No one before Christ had ever said, "Blessed are the poor, and the meek, and the suffering." No one had ever said, "God is love." It was a radical break from the pantheism and polytheism of history, where people would worship some anthropomorphized demigod, who had vices and malice just like humans, but were simply stronger. If that makes sense. He saved us from the exact same thing Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny saved us from, which would be Freddy Krueger. He saved those who trust in him from their own sin. He died to vicariously take on the sin of those who believe in him. If you don't trust in Jesus, then he doesn't take on those sins and instead you are punished for them. In Romans chapter 6 verse 23 says the wages of sin is death. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Romans chapter 10 verse 9. And to answer your question, did everyone go to hell before Jesus? The answer is no. It's a more complicated theological answer, but they were also saved by Jesus' death on the cross. Everyone who has and will be saved was saved by faith. He saved his followers from being able to think critically. Jesus isn't real. Cheers. When you accept Jesus as your Savior, you are automatically handed a free pass to heaven. Enjoy. Working this Monday. Asking the real questions, huh? Bro, we are talking about a book written very long ago which has been rewritten and interpreted different ways. There is no science backing up any of these stories. Try not to lose any sleep over it. I was going to explain, but I will just get downvoted. Just know that the original Christianity was a political movement as much as it was a spiritual one. It sought to obsolete the Jewish temple in Jerusalem as the sole religious authority and to democratize the faith. Certainly not the most insufferable of his fan club. Sin, loneliness, and hell fire. They mean taxes.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.